the groom moves into the bride's house. It's not vice versa. The
Hmm.
boy actually lives with his in-laws. So
Okay. Okay, so now we're going to talk about wedding culture among
okay,
the Tamil Muslim, to be
okay,
more specific, right? Because we
okay,
just focusing on Tamil Muslim community. So
yeah,
what is it like to the arrangement, the marriage arrangement? Because I remember during my father's days,
uh-huh.
they would only allow you to marry like within your community. You cannot
Yes,
even
yes.
marry a Telugu girl or Malayali girl. You need to
It's
marry
still the same. It's still the
among
same.
Tamil Muslim. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's still
It
the
could.
same.
I'm sure. Like I think you're talking in a very broad perspective. I think in
Oh,
your father's time, it could have been within Paramakudi only.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
like the like my uncle, his wife is actually like the second cousin, so it doesn't go
True.
that far. They don't
Yeah.
marry first cousin.
Outside.
They
Yes.
don't
Yes.
really, but they marry second cousin. Like third
True
cousin.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So that is the.
Actually, yes. Yes. The thing is that in Tamil Nadu there are some towns, some places. I know very well because because of my school and my friends. There are places called Kilakarai, Kayalpattinam, Adirampattinam. I'm sure there must be more. I'm sure even there is a place called Pallapatti. There are some areas, some towns in Tamil Nadu, they do not marry outside their village or town at all. Like
Mm,
if you hear that, if someone says that they are from Kilakarai,
mm,
I mean, they are only from Kilakarai. They do not have relations outside Kilakarai at all. Like they might have migrated, but they would never marry someone outside the place and someone within their family even. Same thing goes for Kyle Patnam. And they are also, I think, they are matrilineal, where the groom moves into the bride's house. It's not vice versa. The
mm.
boy actually lives with his in-laws. So
Okay.
it's not the
Mm,
case with others. This is a small group. In my case, our weddings are like, I mean, I think this is what I wanted to write in one of my posts also. Like we say we are from Tirunelveli. It's a district. Tirunelveli and Toothukudi are neighboring districts, and
mhm.
we have small towns all over. So we actually seek for alliances and proposals and marry among people who are from, who belong to this district, and not outside.
Okay.
So it's not something very rigid, but it's a preference, preferably. When my father was looking out for a groom for me, he was
Mm.
quite particular that he would only consider the boys who are originally from Tirunelveli. He had that that mentality actually, but it wasn't the case with my brother. Alhamdulillah, he's married to a girl who is I think she's from a place called Ilayangudi, and I'm sure it's close to your Paramakudi as well. So
Uh-huh.
Alhamdulillah, it's not a rigid rule or anything. It's just it was once, I'm sure, but now I think it has become more of a preference more than anything else.
Mm.
So and now I think with this generation, people are marrying outside. Like I'm not sure about Telugu, but I'm sure they are marrying Urdu speaking Muslims and Malayalam speaking Muslims marrying Tamil speaking. It's becoming quite common and more acceptable these days. As
Mm.
for wedding culture, it used to be very. I mean, it used to be a fun-filled event. Like it used to be some like a festival for a week before.
Uh-huh.
But what has happened over the years, at least the last 15 years, is that Alhamdulillah, with the knowledge of Islam, people have become. They are taking things. I mean, there is one group which is actually splurging and spending on. Like, what happens is that in Tamil Nadu, sister, usually a huge wedding hall is rented,
Ah.
and like close to 1,000 to 2,000 people are
Yep.
invited.
Same here. Okay.
Same here. Oh, really? Okay, okay. Because some of my Sri Lankan friends are quite amused by this because I think there the wedding happens is in hotels or smaller areas and where it's served in
Oh,
yeah, in
wow.
sahan. The food is served in
Maybe
sahan.
for engagement that is possible to have a
Uh,
small ceremony, but for wedding
it's
that
not.
that is still that is still not quite possible.
Yeah, so it's usually, I mean, and that's the culture of Indians as such, like we have wedding halls or auditoriums.
Mm. Yeah.
Weddings happen, like even I got married inside an auditorium.
Yeah.
So it's quite strange too, I know, but that's how it is. But as for my wedding, it was quite we didn't have any elaborate functions or anything. The previous night we don't have mehendi function as such. It's not a
Ah.
part of our culture. We do not
Mm.
have, it's not a part of Tamil Muslims culture, at least, or at least from where I belong, from down south Tirunelveli, we do not have that at all. There is something called Pal Kudam, where
Mm-hmm. What's that?
the groom, sorry, the bride's
Kudam.
family, Pal
Mm.
Kudam, would bring a Kudam means pot. Pallikudam means school. Kudam pal means milk, and kudam
Okay.
means a pot. Okay, so a huge pot actually. So they would fill the pot with milk, and they would decorate that
Oh.
pot with mallipu, the flowers. And
Okay.
they would, I do not know the reason why they would do that. And they will bring sugar to the groom's
Uh-huh.
house, and then they will have
Ah.
the dinner there. But it didn't happen during my wedding.
Mm.
And then this happened. What is interesting is that in the bride's home, a day or two before the wedding, all the women would gather and they would cook loads of drumstick leaves. Okay,
Oh, drumstick
they
leaves. What's that?
drumstick leaves. The muringa kirai.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so the moringa leaves actually.
Uh-huh.
So it's actually very good for your health, and I know it's rich in iron and all that. So what they would do is all the ladies would gather together and they would cook that moringa leaves in
Mm.
huge quantities, and they would make our typical nature, the ghee rice and the mutton curry and all of that,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
also liver, and then the bride and everyone eats that. Okay, so the reason why they do, I never knew. Like why only women gathered and why they cooked and ate moringa leaves. And someone later on told me that it's an aphrodisiac food. So,
Okay.
so I mean, I I couldn't, process that later, but this is one of the cust. I remember that vividly because I don't think it happened during my wedding, or I do not know. I really, I don't know. I don't think I had that for my wedding, but I remember that as a child, like, when it was always, and what they would do is the ladies start playing with each other, and it used to be a lot of fun. So this is one small custom we had, and I think it's not known to many. It's something very super confined to a small community, maybe. Then weddings are normal. It happens either in the masjid or in the wedding hall, and we normally with Tamil speaking Muslims on the
Mm.
day of nikah, the girl side gives the feast in the wedding
Mm.
hall.
Mm.
The
Okay.
girl's father or the girl's family sponsors the meal,
Mm.
and I mean the wedding event happens at the expense of the girl's side. And a few days later, the walima happens, which is at the expense of the groom and the groom's family. So
Okay.
it's just the wedding, the nikah, and the walima. It's just that these two, and both of them happen at the wedding halls. I mean, it depends upon the family's abilities. However, some would have it in a hotel, some would have it in a big hall, according to their financial capabilities. the mahar is given rightfully. Actually, we did have the system of dowry where
Mm.
the girl should give to the boy's family. I mean, it has
Oh.
been there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Mm.
sure, now I think people, now that they have stopped demanding, as far as I know, the groom's family have mostly, I think, they don't demand anymore, but now it's more of a sign of status for the girl's father to give the girl whatever he would want to give, a house or a car or jewelry. So we did have among the Tamil speaking Muslims dowry. I mean, it has been quite a big issue, and
Mm.
now, because now it has become a thing of status. Now it's, though they don't
Mm.
demand, it's like expected.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's still expected from the girl's side to do things for his child, and I mean, also, like, my brother got married here in Dubai. In the,
Oh.
I mean, and Alhamdulillah, it was just a simple. I mean, the registration took place, and then we had the walima. That's it. I love feeling belong to, the roots where we come
Yeah.
from. And sadly, from my father is originally from Chennai only, so I mean that part of belonging is always there. He has, I mean, his family settled in Chennai like 3 generations ago. So I mean,
Oh. Mm.
so it's Chennai. That part of belonging is there. As for my mother's side, there is like nobody there back in her village, and but at least Alhamdulillah, my husband's family, they all are there. At least a few of them are there where we would go back and visit, and have that slice of that small town life, and
Yeah.
because to see. To walk in a street where there is sand instead of a road is a special feeling.
Well, thank you for watching the second episode of the Tat. If you find this episode beneficial, please do share it around. And if you feel like you wanted to talk about your culture, about your tradition, please do email me so that I can get in touch with you and interview you. See you in another episode. Bye.